owning a gas station seems like one of the safest businesses imaginable. Cars will always need fuel. Thousands of drivers pass by every day. Money comes in around the clock. It almost feels like owning a tiny money printing machine sitting on the corner of a busy intersection. And when you drive past a station charging $4 a gallon, it's easy to assume the owner is making a fortune every time someone fills up. That assumption is almost completely wrong, because a gas station isn't really a fuel business. It's a logistics business, a retail business, a real estate business, a food business, a risk management business. And increasingly, it's becoming everything except the thing people think they're buying. Once you understand where the money actually comes from and where it disappears, you begin to see why two stations across the street from each other can have completely different futures, even while selling almost identical gasoline. The question isn't whether people need gas. The real question is whether selling gas is even the point anymore. Start with the obvious expense. Buying a gas station isn't like buying a restaurant or a coffee shop. The building is only one part of it. Buried beneath the pavement are underground fuel storage tanks containing thousands of gallons of gasoline and diesel. Those tanks must meet strict environmental standards because even a small leak can contaminate soil and groundwater. Cleaning up fuel contamination isn't just inconvenient. It can cost hundreds of thousands, or in severe cases, millions of dollars. That's why environmental inspections are among the most important parts of purchasing an existing station. Sometimes the most expensive thing you're buying isn't visible at all. Then there are the pumps, the fuel monitoring systems, the emergency shutoff equipment, fire suppression, point-of-sale systems, security cameras, lighting, backup power in some locations. Every piece has regulations attached to it. Owning a gas station means maintaining an industrial facility that also happens to serve coffee and potato chips. And before you've sold your first gallon, you've already entered a business with enormous fixed costs. But surprisingly, none of those costs are the biggest misconception. The biggest misconception is believing gasoline is where the profits are. Imagine a customer spends $60 filling their tank. It sounds impressive. Multiply that by hundreds of customers every day and revenue starts looking enormous. But revenue isn't profit. Fuel retailing has historically operated on extremely thin margins. Those margins fluctuate constantly based on wholesale fuel prices, local competition, transportation costs, taxes, and supply conditions. Industry data in the United States often shows retailers making only a few cents per gallon after paying suppliers, though actual margins vary significantly by region and market conditions. That means a station might sell thousands of gallons in a day while earning surprisingly little from the gasoline itself. Now, think about what happens next. The same customer walks inside. They grab a bottle of soda, a sandwich, a bag of chips, maybe a coffee. Those products often carry dramatically higher profit margins than fuel. That's why so many stations have evolved into convenience stores that happen to sell gasoline, rather than gas stations that happen to sell snacks. The fuel attracts the customer. The store makes the money. Once you notice that pattern, you can't unsee it. Look at the parking lot differently. Each car isn't just buying fuel. It's traffic. Traffic is inventory. Every vehicle represents another chance to sell something far more profitable. This is why station owners obsess over seemingly unrelated details. Is the coffee fresh? How quickly can customers get in and out? Is the restroom clean? Are the shelves stocked? Can someone park a truck easily? These decisions sound small. Economically, they're enormous, because every additional purchase increases the value of acquiring that customer in the first place. In retail, this is often called increasing the average transaction. The customer arrived for one reason. The business survives because they leave with 3. Now consider something even stranger. Many station owners don't fully control the price of gasoline. Drivers assume owners simply choose a number and update the sign. Reality is much messier. Some stations operate independently. Others are franchises. Many purchase fuel through long-term supply agreements with refiners or distributors. Wholesale fuel prices can change rapidly, influenced by crude oil markets, refinery outages, transportation bottlenecks, seasonal demand, and geopolitical events. Suppose wholesale prices suddenly jump. Raise your retail price too quickly and customers drive across the street. Wait too long and every gallon sold may generate almost no profit. The large sign towering above the road isn't simply advertising. It's broadcasting an economic decision that may change several times a day. And every nearby competitor is watching. Pricing becomes less about maximizing profit and more about avoiding losing customers while protecting already thin margins. That balancing act never stops. Then there are costs customers never see. Credit card processing fees, insurance, payroll, utilities, or maintenance, property taxes, equipment inspections, pump calibration, canopy lighting that runs all night, fuel theft, shoplifting, waste disposal. Even the credit card fee can become surprisingly painful because it is often charged as a percentage of the transaction. Fuel purchases are large dollar sales with relatively low profit margins, meaning payment processing alone can consume a significant share of the profit on each gallon. A station may look busy from sunrise until midnight. The owner may still be worrying about cash flow, because activity isn't the same thing as profitability. And one unexpected expense can erase weeks of earnings. Now watch how a single problem spreads. Suppose an underground pump suddenly fails. Fuel sales slow immediately. Customers waiting too long simply leave. Many won't come back. Inside the store, snack and beverage sales fall because fewer customers enter the building. Revenue drops. Meanwhile, repair technicians arrive. Replacement parts aren't cheap. Fuel deliveries may need to be adjusted. Employees still need to be paid. Loan payments continue. Electric bills continue. Insurance continues. Nothing else stops. One broken pump has become a business-wide problem. That's the hidden chain reaction. Gas stations are highly interconnected systems. A failure rarely stays isolated. There's another invisible asset that's even more valuable than the pumps. Location. A station sitting beside a busy highway exit may outperform another station with newer equipment simply because thousands more vehicles pass every day. Traffic counts matter. Ingress and egress matter. Can drivers enter easily from both directions? Can trucks fit? Is there room for expansion? Real estate professionals often value successful stations partly because the land itself can become extraordinarily valuable over time. Some owners make more through appreciating property values than through years of fuel sales, which raises an uncomfortable question. If the land becomes more valuable than the station itself, what business are you actually in? One company answered that question differently than almost anyone else. Buc-ee's. When the first Buc-ee's locations opened in Texas, they certainly sold gasoline, but they weren't designed around gasoline. They were designed around stopping. Instead of treating customers as drivers buying fuel, Buc-ee's treated them as travelers willing to spend time and money if given enough reasons. Massive convenience stores, fresh barbecue, large bakery sections, branded merchandise, spotless restrooms that became famous enough to earn national recognition, hundreds of fueling positions at some locations. The fuel attracts enormous traffic, but the experience encourages customers to stay longer and spend much more inside. Industry analysts frequently point to Buc-ee's as an example of how convenience retail can become the primary economic engine, with fuel functioning as the customer acquisition tool. In other words, gasoline became marketing. That completely changes the business model. Instead of competing solely on pennies per gallon, the company competes on everything that happens after customers park. And that's why Buc-ee's expanded into one of America's most recognizable travel stop brands without relying on the traditional gas station formula. But even this model faces a changing future. Electric vehicles don't refuel the same way gasoline cars do. Charging usually takes much longer than filling a tank. That creates a different customer experience. Instead of spending 5 minutes on site, customers may remain for 20 or 30 minutes or longer, depending on the charger. That changes what nearby businesses become valuable. Coffee shops, restaurants, comfortable seating, reliable Wi-Fi, clean restrooms, retail shopping. The economics begin shifting again. Not because transportation disappears, because waiting becomes part of transportation. Many traditional fuel retailers are already adding fast chargers, expanding food offerings, and redesigning stores to prepare for that possibility. No one knows exactly how quickly the transition will happen because adoption varies by country, infrastructure, vehicle prices, and government policy. But the direction of travel is difficult to ignore. So what happens if you decide to own one? In the best case scenario, you acquire a station in a strong location, manage costs carefully, maintain excellent operations, grow the convenience store, and gradually increase the value of both the business and the property. That's absolutely possible. Many independent operators have built successful multi-location businesses over decades. The more realistic, successful outcome is less glamorous. Lot of hours, constant maintenance, employees, watching wholesale prices, negotiating with suppliers, monitoring inventory, handling regulations, responding to equipment failures, protecting razor-thin margins while hoping customers buy more than gasoline. Then there's the failure scenario. Traffic declines because a new highway bypass opens. A major repair arrives unexpectedly. Competition cuts prices aggressively. Debt becomes harder to service. Environmental issues emerge. One challenge alone might be manageable. Several arriving together can quickly overwhelm the business. Notice how few of those risks involve gasoline itself. That's the strange truth hiding underneath the familiar blue and red signs we pass every day. The visible product is fuel. The real business is something else entirely. It's directing traffic, selling convenience, managing logistics, maintaining expensive infrastructure, making thousands of tiny operational decisions every week, using gasoline to bring customers onto valuable real estate. The next time you stop for fuel, look beyond the pump. The coffee machine, the sandwich cooler, the shelves of snacks, the branded merchandise, the spotless restroom, the flow of cars entering and leaving. They're not side businesses. They're the business. They're the business because owning a gas station was never really about selling gasoline. It's about turning a few minutes of someone's journey into an entire economic ecosystem.